Yes, I'm still here, Hollywood. And coming up on today's episode, she grew up on an apple farm. She became a model at 15, and then Hollywood came calling with one of the biggest franchise films on the planet. And overnight, 10,000 women who didn't get the role learned her name. She is a warrior on screen, a producer behind the camera, and a woman who has always lived entirely on her own terms. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me today with my guest from Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, actor Kristanna Loken. Hi, Kristanna.
Hi.
Thanks
Steve.
for being here.
My pleasure.
I understand, I got to get this cleared up right off the bat, that you're a Cubs fan?
That is true.
How did that happen?
Well, my mom and dad are both from Wisconsin. And before there were the Brewers, there were the Cubs. That was their closest team. So, yes, by default, I became a Cubs fan. And I had this wonderful dream when I turned 15 to take the train from upstate New York, where I grew up on a fruit farm, to Chicago to see the Cubs play and to experience Wrigley Field. And we stayed with my aunt and uncle, and it was lovely. I'll never forget that trip. And it was while Harry Carey was still there, and that was very important to me.
Yeah. I think he's the voice most closely associated with the Cubs, even though he's been gone a while now.
That's true, yeah.
What happened to them recently? They've been falling left and right.
It's true. Yes, they have. And I can hear my dad sometimes when I'm over in the other room kind of yelling at the television, for one reason or another. But
just about all Chicagoans right now are going, well, it was only a matter of time.
There was that moment 10 years ago.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Growing up, what did you think your future looked like?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, as I mentioned, grew up on a fruit farm in upstate New York, and my dad had been an actor. He's also a writer. My mother was a successful model in New York for nearly 20 years until she was 6 months pregnant with me, still doing swimwear. And from a little tiny girl on, from about the age of 3, I knew I wanted to be an actress. And it was very clear to me that that's what I was going to do. And I really never saw any deviation from that thought. So I grew up, fortunately, being able to do all different types of lessons that would really pay off in the end for kind of a well-rounded background in the arts. So from horseback riding to various types of dance to summer stock theater to voice lessons, any type of performing that I could get my hands on, I was really all over it. So, that's what I thought. That's what I thought my future looked like, and here we are.
Is it true the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? You grew up on an apple farm. Your father's an actor. Your mother's a model.
They could say it's in the genes. Mm-hmm. And yes, I've been learning recently more and more about genetics, and it does really seem to play a massive role. So I do believe that for sure.
What's something people assume about models that couldn't be more wrong?
I would say that they're interested in fashion. I did do some modeling as well, and I really have no interest in fashion. So I think there's one thing, or, it's like you can't have beauty and brains, There's plenty of lovely, smart businesswomen that I met in the modeling world that have really done quite well for themselves.
What skill helped you most from going from modeling to actress?
Well, I actually started acting first. My first paid job was As the World Turns. I played Meg Ryan's speed-aged daughter, as they do in the soap world. Like they'll have a character on that's about 3, and then they're gone, and then they come back a year later and they're 13. Voila, that was me. But Meg had just left the show, and I had another actress playing my mother. But that was really the first job that I did, and then I did various other jobs in New York, and I was approached multiple times to try modeling, and my mom said, well, why don't you do it and save up some money for college? And I did, and got to travel the world, and then I really, said, really acting is what I want to pursue.
And it's worked out pretty well, hasn't it?
Thankfully so, yes.
When you were first, one of the films you made, of course, and you're closely identified with, is Terminator 3. When you learned you were being considered for it, what was your reaction?
It's an interesting one because I loved Terminator 2, and I'm not an action fan per se, but that film really landed with me, and it was Robert Patrick's performance that I just thought was captivating because I didn't see any human traits. He was a machine. And when that opportunity came around, I just thought, this is it. This is the role for me. It was like tunnel vision. And, certain things in the past that had maybe been to my detriment worked to my advantage, like my height, deeper voice. Sometimes they'd try to, line me up with the other characters and I'd be taller than the guy playing my dad, when I was quite young. So I thought, all of that other stuff is not a limitation anymore. It can be advantageous. So, I just went for it, and it was a series of probably 8 or so auditions, a lot of them very physical. And I'll never forget when I got the job, I was on my horse riding, and Jonathan Mostow called, the director, and he said, Kristanna, how would you like your life to change as you know it from here on out? And I said, I'm ready, sign me up, and I won't let you down.
You co-starred with Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, and you mentioned height. You're taller than he is, aren't you?
Well, I wore heels. He wore boots, so we were about the same.
Oh, okay.
About the same.
I remember once my sister was visiting me, and we were in Beverly Hills, stopped at a light, and he was crossing the street, and I pointed him out to her, and she said, "That little guy?" He's by no means little.
Right,
but
right.
She was pretty big, too.
Yeah.
What was it like? Did you feel pressure stepping into a franchise that was so embraced worldwide? Was there any pressure?
Yes. I like pressure. I think having that impetus behind me really inspired me. I remember the Olympics were on that summer, and I felt like I was doing my own personal Olympics in the training itself. And the training was extensive. I did weight training. I had a nutritionist. I did Krav Maga. I worked with a mime coach, LAPD to learn how to use the 45. So all of that, and putting on 15 pounds of muscle mass and getting myself into the Olympic athlete shape, getting my body fat down to that percentage, really aided in building the layers of that character, of course.
Did it make you cranky?
It could, yeah. That's a fair point. Yeah. Maybe my fuse might have been a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I can remember on occasion when I've tried to slim down and get a certain body fat. I got down to 6% once, and I was really cranky.
Yeah. The diet, the range of what you eat gets less and less. Yeah.
What was it like working with Arnold?
He's great. I mean, he's got a larger-than-life persona. He's very gracious with his fans. I learned a lot by working with him in the stunt sequences. And, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Did he give you any advice that has stayed with you?
That's a good question. There's one moment that really stays with me. And we were in Tokyo, and we'd had the premiere here in LA, and then we took the Sony jet to Tokyo because by the time we got there, it was going to be the premiere in Tokyo. So we get into this stadium that was their big football, soccer stadium, rock star stadium. And I really, truly did feel like a rock star. I mean, the stadium was absolutely packed with people. Even Arnold, with all that he's done, I could tell was in awe. I mean, it was loud. People were excited. It was the first Terminator film that had come out in 12 years. And Jonathan Arnold and I just had this moment on stage where we just were taking it all in, like, wow, this is really quite something. And as we were walking off, I remember Arnold and Jonathan kind of looking over and saying to me, like, wow, this is the start of something really great for you, Kristanna, and you're going to have a career like Sharon Stone. Well, I love Sharon Stone, so I'll never forget that moment. That was a real compliment to me.
Did it feel that way to you now in retrospect, like your entire life changed?
Yes and no. I mean, I was put out there on a worldwide stage in a massive, massive way. But I don't think I've changed. You know, I've seen people change through the years. Certainly some, going through things, let it affect them, but I don't know what I would change into. I was like, I'm just me. I'm Kristanna, who grew up on a fruit farm. I love my craft, but I've always maintained a pretty private life as well. I like doing my own thing. So it's a balancing act of, stepping into the public, but also being true to yourself. And that has also been very, very important to me, just upholding who I am. Now, look, you're not going to please everybody. Not everybody's going to be a fan. That's okay. But if I can just be authentically me and try to do my best every day, then I've done my job.
Easier said than done.
Very true. Very true.
As a gay man, I know how difficult it can be to be yourself sometimes, and you're so accustomed to hiding all these aspects that that make you up or make up you, who you are. And you talked openly about being bisexual.
Yeah.
Were you nervous about making that disclosure?
Frankly, I didn't even think about it.
Really?
Yeah. And it was a kind of a turning point of a time where people really weren't, in retrospect, talking about it much yet. Or, it was very filtered. And so it was, it was a non-event to me, because it was like, wow, this is part of who I am. I'm going to love whom I choose. Love is love. What difference does it make? And the more of something that's taboo that we make it, the more people are, or the less people are going to talk about it. And it should be normalized. And my sister is lesbian, and she's always talked openly about her sexuality. And she was like, Kristanna, it's really a non-event, and she's 16 years older than me. So she really is almost in a different generation when things were more difficult. You could probably relate. My
brother is gay, and he's 14 years older than I am. So it's very similar in terms of our experience. And I just know how, when he wasn't hiding, how he could offer me advice and help me along. What surprised you most about the experience of talking to, you disclosed in a magazine article, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Are you thinking, well, I'm thinking there could have been The Advocate, could have been Curve, a couple that come to mind.
I think Curve is the one I was reading about. I did The Advocate too.
You said something that surprised me about it, or the response?
About the response and the reaction.
Yeah, I think it was overwhelmingly positive, at least how it landed on me. that was a time too where, I mean, I had just gotten my first computer. It was 2005. I'm not a techie person still to this day. It's like, if I can't feel it, touch it, taste it, hold it, or smell it, I just can't relate to it. But what I started to read was that people were thanking me from all over the world, of stories of like, well, I didn't really know what I was experiencing or how I was feeling or what this meant, or am I supposed to look a certain way? And these are all questions that I think, when you're coming out or you're figuring out your sexuality, that you ask yourself, am I, and plus then after that, then it was the L word, then all of a sudden they found me and, could you please be on our show? And I talked to my sister, Tanya, and she was filling me in because I hadn't seen the show, but she was a diehard viewer. So I got all the backstory on all the characters. And and that show was a real pioneer of its kind in queer as folk as well at that time. I think just the more that we can normalize who we are and how we are, the better it is. Now the big influx, we just had Mental Health Awareness Month, right? I think just as honest as we can be in our lives, the more joy we can find, because then the more human we truly are within ourselves and in our craft and in our work and in all the things that we do, as a parent with my son, Thor, who's 10, and now there's so much less stigma, and you just kind of lay it out there like, well, you could choose to be, with a partner when you're older, and maybe that'll be a boy, maybe that'll be a girl. And he accepted that, and that was that.
Deal with it.
Deal with it, yeah. All the rest.
Looking back now, we'll get back to movies now. What does Terminator 3 mean to you personally?
I think back to a time with Robert Patrick. So Robert Patrick and I have gotten to become good friends through the years. And we did a film together called SWAT Firefight, and I play his crazy, estranged ex-lover. And we sat down one time and talked about our experience as Terminators together. And we thought at that time, I don't think they'd had the TV series yet, but it was like, how many people can you really have this conversation with? Mm-hmm. And how has it shaped our lives and career? And Terminator really, truly is as well the gift that keeps giving, because it's an incredible franchise and the roles are so iconic. We actually just did a Arte French documentary that's coming out, a big expose on Terminator and the franchise and everything. So it's been a wonderful blessing.
You have to, the character, is it TX? Mm-hmm. You have to be devoid of emotions, really, but still imbue it with some kind of quality that people can latch on to. How does that work?
It's a great question, Steve. I peppered in the performance, and it was the first time, obviously there'd been a female Terminator, I think, on the series. Subsequently, they had one. But where not only does she have these moments of femininity, but I can already see the edit in my head of those moments you're going to put in here. But also human traits, like showing signs of, eliminating those human traits, but just enough that you could relate as a person and you want to root for her. Like, you might not know why, or you might not want to be rooting for her, but yet you find yourself rooting for her in some way. And I think having those human moments, like the moment of tasting the blood when she finds the gauze on the ground in the vet clinic, glancing in the mirror when she's doing the bathroom fight sequence, things of that nature that you can go, oh, maybe the machines will rise. And now here we are in the world of AI, and they have risen.
What do you think about AI?
Well, being kind of the technophobe that I am,
it's a very controversial subject in Hollywood.
It really is. It's weird. I've started to see videos, where it looks like it's me. It's not me doing that because I never did that. I never shot that scene. But there's something about it that's not quite me. And it looks like if I had a twin sister, maybe it would be her. So I think there's a time and a place to streamline the use of AI in certain workflows, etc. But in the world of the arts, it's a human craft, and I do stand in solidarity with all that we've done within the union for the protective measures against AI usage
and
for
being
likeness,
replaced,
etc. Exactly, because you can tell, and the difference of what it means to be human is how we react, how we emote, how we feel, and the depth of that cannot be replaced. So there's a part of me that I'm like, yeah, I'm not that worried.
Back with more in a moment. If you'd like to be more involved with us at Still Here Hollywood, you definitely can. Just visit patreon.com/stillherehollywood. You can support us for as little as $3 a month. You can get our episodes a day before they post anywhere else. You can see what guests will be coming up and submit questions for them. You can even tell us what stars you want us to have on as guests. You'll see what goes on before and after the episode, plus exclusive behind-the-scenes info, pics, video, and more. Again, that's patreon.com/stillherehollywood. Do you think audiences viewed female action stars differently in 2003 than they do today?
Yes. I don't think there were yet as many. We had Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
Natasha Henstridge was around that similar time. Then we came with, Lara Croft and some others, Mila Jovovich. But there was this kind of upswing of female empowerment. And I remember after doing the film, someone asked me, well, what does it feel like to be this iconic female character? And what does it mean? And what's the responsibility? And I was like, man, I didn't think about any of that going into it. I just wanted to do the best job that I could do at that time and just get every nuance of the character as I wanted it to be. So, of course, looking back, there's a certain embodiment that I've, of course, tapped into in my own personal strength and being and essence that attracted that role to me, that I just felt this affinity towards. And so with that, I now look back and see, yeah, there is a responsibility in that. And I hope with just being true to myself that I've done that justice.
Here's a question to think about. What's something Hollywood rewards that it probably shouldn't? Spill it.
Well, the first thing I think of, the first word that came to mind was fakeness. And I go, the opposite of that to me would feel like authenticity. And, there's a lot of people in this town that are just trying to be everything that they're not. And, I think we should really reward those who are in it for the reasons of their craft and really trying to uphold the artistry about that. And that, to me, goes back to humanity. I mean, I love to play all types of characters, but I love to play characters too that really show the human flaws and, the sides that we want to keep behind closed doors, that to me is exciting. And that to me is real. And that to me is something that everybody can relate to, whether it's circumstantial or not. Everybody can relate to things that are going on for them that they may not want the outside world to see. So again, I go back to authenticity, and I think there's a lot of posers out there.
People going down the red carpet going kiss, kiss, hug, hug.
Oh yeah, all the BS. And honestly, Steve, I'm at a place in my life, personally and professionally, where if people are not upholding me the way that I want to be upheld, I just don't have time for it. I mean, I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to, get involved with anybody that is not there with the best intentions, because that's what I also want to put forward.
Your son Thor is 10 years old, you said?
Just turned 10, yep.
How do you relate to him?
It's a great question. Always. Always and always I relate to him. Man, he's the light of my life. I feel humbled. It's emotional for me, really being his mother and in his presence. I have learned so much from him. I continue to learn from him. I feel like the student, he's the teacher. And there's just this beautiful vulnerability and naivety that you just want to bottle it up, because that time will pass. And I think, again, that's the beauty of life, right? Is experiencing this grieving process of the present moment over and over and over and over. We'll never go back to the start of this interview, right? So there's this grief of like what was, what could have been. And it's so touching and moving to me. Watching that process, and not in a morose way, but in a depth of real vulnerability of experience.
You're Norwegian?
Yes, I'm mainly Norwegian. Did my Ancestry.com, found out that I'm also a little Swedish. I mean, they are neighbors.
Yes.
And German, and peppered in with just a couple of little Eastern European places, but mainly Norwegian. Yeah.
Where did you come up with the name Thor? How did you decide to name your son Thor? It seems like a natural.
Yes. My sister named me. My parents wanted a Scandinavian sounding name, so my sister Tanya made up Kristanna. And
you could have been Sven.
I could have been. That's true. So Jonathan, my son's father, and I were into this Ancestry.com, and he found out he was 24% Scandinavian.
Oh.
And so we thought we're going to give him a Scandinavian name, and Thor is my great-grandfather's name. And we loved the mythology around it, god of thunder and lightning, and also, as we found out after he was born, the god of healing, too. Didn't know that. So today, in his swimming lesson, he had another boy named Odin. So I thought, oh, isn't that ironic? We have now Odin and Thor together, father and son.
Does he look at you as a movie star? How does he relate to you in that part of your life?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Because here's something that may surprise you. We don't have TV.
I couldn't live without TV.
Given what I do, we are, I have a phone. Like I said, I'm very analog, very low tech. So we're really a screen-free household. I mean, of course, I've got a computer for emails, and if I have to watch anything, I can on my computer. But he's never seen any of my work.
Never.
Is my point. Not yet. No.
By choice? By your choice or his choice?
No, by just we're not a viewing household. I mean, it's he and I, and that's just not our culture of our home life. We read a lot. We're outdoors people. So there's pictures of me in the house, where I'm half mama, half robot, and that's how he looks at it.
Yes.
So he'll get there. He'll get there, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And I tell him, he knows what I do. He's been on sets with me. But, I say someday we can watch this. And, I have done kid shows too that he could watch, but not yet.
You've done let's see if I'm remembering correctly, 90 films?
Yeah.
Or television shows, something like that?
That's about right. Between TV and film, yeah.
That's a lot, to my mind.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is. I started acting professionally at 13.
And now you're
18.
I was wondering where that'd go. Just thought I'd throw it out. Nothing personal.
Of course.
Now I'm going to get comments from people saying, he wouldn't ask a man that.
Of course, yes. Now you're sexist. Yeah.
Yes, I get that a lot. Science fiction fans are incredibly passionate. Have you found that to be true? Do you do Comic-Cons and things?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I love my fans. They're absolutely amazing. I think they know my resume better than I do. Small little nuanced projects here or there or whatever. It's really remarkable and it's very touching. And I just feel humbled and grateful that these people have supported my career through the years. I truly do.
Tell me about growing up on an apple farm. It's called Love Apple?
That's right, Love Apple Farm. Mm-hmm.
Was it difficult leaving that kind of environment?
First of all, I loved the farm. I absolutely loved it. And I'm sure that helped support my outdoorsy type lifestyle. Winters skiing, cross country and downhill and ice skating. I'm a big winter sports person too. But I had, as I like to say, I had a dollar and a dream. And there was nothing standing in my way of getting out here. And so I started in New York City first, and then came out here. I had auditioned for a job in New York called Aliens in the Family by the creator of Married with Children. We shot it right over here. Radford, CBS Radford. And I said to them, they wanted to see me and screen test me out here. And I said, all right, if I get the job, I'm going to stay. And I was 16 years old and I've been here ever since. But I loved the farm and I've always loved to have places that I could have time apart from Los Angeles and this business. I think it's been really important for my own headspace and to just have a little bit of a respite. So I had South Africa. I had a home there for about a decade. And
really?
So I spent a lot of time there, through the years.
That's a long move.
It's far. I think that was part of it. Give myself a little breather. I did a mini series down there and I loved it so much. I'm like, I am not leaving until I buy a house. and I did. I had a great little beach house there. And then I ended up buying a place in upstate New York for a bit of my own to have for a while after my parents sold the farm. But there's a part of me that always likes to find the country and go back to my rural roots.
What's your favorite apple?
Lately, I've been into the Cosmic Crisp. I just had one, actually.
Really?
Which is not a variety that we had on the farm. It's a new hybrid. But when I was growing up on the farm, I would say Golden Delicious. We had 26 varieties.
Oh, I like Fuji and Gala.
Fuji's are great. Yep. Galas are also great.
Yeah. Slice it up and put it in a salad. Mm-hmm. Tell me something, personal growth, something you become less concerned about as you've gotten older.
My hair. Yep. As if you're going personal growth in depth, or you said less concerned about.
Well, I'm kind of shallow, but
Yeah.
if you want to go deep, go deep.
I have my natural hair color for the first time since I was 18 years old. And I was like, you know what? Why am I dyeing my hair? I'm just going to let it go natural. So I think embracing, getting older and being more comfortable in your own skin feels really great. And that I've done a lot of personal growth work, all different types, was big into meditation for many, many, many years, getting back into that now. So yeah, less concerned. Again, I think it goes back to that authenticity piece of just really embodying yourself more. So it becomes, for me anyway, less external and more internal, and embracing that.
Well, you're only 18.
That's true.
What's something you become more protective of?
More protective of. First thing I think of is my son and my time with him. My time I've become more protective of. And that goes back to the pieces with, just feeling obligated in a life where people are always wanting this, more. And you go, no, I don't. I can pick and choose how I want to spend my time and with the people that I want to spend it with. And I don't have to just give and give and give and give. So, time.
It's okay to take every once in a while.
Yes, exactly. I have to remind myself that.
And we'll be right back. What's a lesson you learned the hard way?
Well, I had a fear of failure growing up. And I think trial and error and failure is a valuable part of success and also personal growth, and that reflection and looking at your life and going, well, that didn't work. All right, let me try something else. And whether that's personally or professionally or both, God willing, we have a wonderful opportunity to have a long, full life. So it's really embracing all the moments and not condemning yourself for those that didn't work, but just reflecting upon them.
If you could tell your younger self one thing before entering Hollywood, what would it be?
I think it would be what I've just finally learned now, whereas not feeling obligated to give a piece of yourself to everybody, to give of your time, to save that time. And I think probably my younger self was going, well, Kristanna, that's why, maybe you have a house in different places so that you can take that reflective time for yourself, but to really understand the nuance of that a little bit better.
Of all the people you've worked with, who did you learn the most from?
Couple come to mind, and they're both one's an Academy Award winner and one's an Academy Award two-time nominee, and that would be Sir Ben Kingsley and Bruce Dern. And what have I learned from them?
Yes.
Well, Bruce Dern played my father, and this was a very special movie on a film called Fighting for Freedom that my dad wrote, that we shot on my parents' farm, and it's inspired by true events about a Mexican migrant family that lives and works on my parents' farm. And Bruce is a wonderful man. He's very funny, very quick. And he said to me, Kristanna, your best years are yet to come. And he said, because when people can start looking at you on a deeper level, they'll really be able to see your ability. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but it was something along those lines. And that really landed with me. And I do think, growing through the industry and the roles, that you play from 13 to now, of course, are vastly different. And also a quote from dear Julian Sands, sadly no longer with us, who I also worked with on that miniseries in Cape Town, said that when you get into a different stage of your life, the roles start to become more interesting. And it's very true. You're playing, as I accumulate life experience, those roles, of course, are richer and fuller and deeper as well. So I digress a little bit there, but Sir Ben.
Gandhi himself.
Yes, indeed. Also played my father in Blood Rain, and wonderful, wonderful man to work with. Fun, pointed, succinct, and specific in his work. And it was great to watch him work and to work with him. And another thing that Bruce said, just to encapsulate this, was he said, Kristanna, you're a wonderful dance partner. And he said, I think acting is like a dance. It's like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, where you're just flowing with one another. And so I really took that to heart.
And she did everything backwards and in heels.
Exactly. Yes. Touche.
What's something you almost walked away from too soon?
Well, there are times that this business can get very frustrating. You get tired of the people, the bullshitters. Can I say that?
Yes.
Just the fakeness of it all. And, and sometimes I'm just like, man, I'm going to do something else. But then I think about it for probably about 5 minutes. And I go, well, what else would I do? There's really nothing else that I want to do. So it keeps me coming back. But sometimes I'm being a little dramatic there. It's longer than 5 minutes. And I'll take I'll go away for a bit and do some reflection, meditating, etc. And each time I come back, I see a deeper reason in myself as to why acting is important to me, why this business is important to me. And now it's almost like I'm a horse with blinders on where I'm not even, I don't have time for the bullshit anymore. That bullshit's just sliding right off. So yeah, I'm just sifting right through it. And that's something that I really appreciate with time in this business and with coming back every time.
Put those blinders back on for just a second and tell me, what do you see down the road for you?
Well, I think like Bruce, I really see that the best is yet to come. I really feel like there's a wave of depth of work in my future where people are going to see a different side of me. People are going to see another side of rawness and life experience in me. And there's a couple of projects, but that's future. But there's a couple of projects now that one has just come out. It's called Dark Reckoning. And this is my survival film. And this film, my character Alex is stuck. She gets into an accident. She's stuck under a truck, and she really looks at, has she done what she's needed to in this lifetime in order to move on into the afterlife, or does she still have more work yet to do? So it's very metaphoric. And there's some wonderful flashbacks and hallucinations, and Martin Cove plays my dad. It's really a quest of her own personal internal survival, but will she make it out physically or not alive? So that's Dark Reckoning, streaming on various platforms now. And there's another film very near and dear to my heart that also just came out recently called Vice and Virtue. This is a film that my company, Trio Entertainment, produced. I'm also in. And Vice and Virtue, they take human forms, they come down to planet Earth, and they invoke this judgment day on about half a dozen people that find themselves in an undisclosed location. Over the course of this one evening, through the unraveling and finding the truth out about their lives, we find out why they're there and why they're facing these very grim life or death circumstances. So the important thing about this film is that I got to work in some of the backstory of the difficulties of the beginning of life that my son had. So it was a very cathartic film for me. So not only am I bringing these up for a shameless plug, but I'm also bringing them up because there's a depth of emotional life in both of these characters that I enjoy playing, and I have throughout my career. I mean, I think of Painkiller Jane, Sci-Fi series I did as well, and others. But going forward, I would love to embody more real, human, flawed characters that people can relate to, and that hopefully they can experience in such a way that sheds light on things they might be going through and help give them a direction, if you will, after watching. And with Vice and Virtue, I do hope when people watch this film that they will look at their own choices a little bit more clearly, because it is a film about choices, how we're choosing something all day, every day. And that collection of choices really makes up and shapes and creates who we are.
Are there women that you've looked up to?
Definitely. My mother, for one, her tenacity in the business and just putting herself out there, never wavering, having a wonderful career. And her motto was always, she always said to me, Kristanna, whatever they ask you to do in the room, of course, within reason, but like if you can sing, if you can dance, if you can, all these things, she goes, even if you don't really know how to do it, she goes, just say you can do it, because then once they hire you, they're stuck with you for the job. So that was my mom's mentality, and her motto, and it got her far. And I mean, what she did in the 60s and 70s in her career was really quite brave. Like I think of one Sure deodorant commercial she shot with a lion. I mean, right up there, hugging the lion, right in there. I mean, she just got in there and thought about things later, and, that can go either direction, but I have that quality myself. So my mother, for one, and Helen Mirren. I am a huge fan of Helen Mirren. I just think she's had an incredible career, and one who's really, again, also started to really blossom, like in her 40s, 50s with Prime Suspect. Mm-hmm. I believe it was on BBC. I love that series.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and, just raw grit, embracing who she is, not apologetic, in a very upholding kind of way, and just had a real kaleidoscope of characters that she's portrayed. So
Queen Elizabeth, for one.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, that was the year she won
the Oscar,
the trifecta,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, she won everything that year.
The Oscars, the Golden Globes, and the Emmy. So Helen Mirren. I'm just a big fan.
Have you ever met her?
No, but I was in South Africa shooting another film. And I heard that she was staying at the same place that I was. And I believe it was my husband at the time who even said, he goes, oh, I just saw Helen Mirren in the lobby. And I was like, what? I got really excited. One of the few people I was actually like almost a little bit nervous to meet. So, but I didn't get to meet her. I missed her, unfortunately. One day, hopefully I could work with her. That would be great.
We'll be right back. What do people misunderstand about beauty and success? Do they go hand in hand?
Again, I feel like they think there's this kind of limit. Like, oh, well, she's beautiful, so that's it. Like there can't be this more than like, wow, she's really talented and she's really gifted. It's like they only want to be able to see one thing like she couldn't possibly have it both. And, you know, what I love about Helen Mirren, and there's this one great interview that she did, and she used to get really nervous. Even in the interview, she's holding a feather, and she goes, I hold this feather because then I can see how much it's shaking, you know, how my level of nerves are. Yeah. But it was like she paved the way in a time in the 70s and before of like where people thought, oh, she's this beautiful young, you know, ingenue, like she can't have all of this talent. And she was always very strong in her conviction and her voice about like, well, I'm going to just do my craft and be the best that I can be. And well, she's proven those naysayers wrong. So I think that's a big misconception.
Was there ever a role you desperately wanted but didn't get?
There was one that I think it was right after Terminator, that there were a couple kind of floating around, but I think it was the Fantastic Four. Seem to recall that. That would have been a really good job to have. No, that's the one that really stands out. But there were a couple that I'm like, that would have been really nice. But the one that I haven't done yet, that I would really like to do, is I've never played in a biopic before. Biopic. Which one do you say? Yeah.
That's what some people say, biopic.
Biopic. Yeah. So I would love to portray someone, living or deceased, and really, again, I guess it goes back to my enjoyment of. I do have a little bit of a perfectionistic thing, you know, like with TX. You know, there's something in the precision and in the preciseness about that specificity in playing a living person that really intrigues me. I think of my acting coach, Larry Moss, who said, you know, what would someone need to know in order to play you? And if you just let that land, you think about all the specific things that you do throughout the day that create and shape who you are and how you are, you know, in this, up until this moment. And again, I think that goes back to my interest of Vice and Virtue and a film about choices, because it's all the specificity of the choices that we make. So that's on my list.
What do you do for fun?
Well, I do like my sports. So as I mentioned, I'm a big winter. I love winter. I love snow.
That's the Norwegian.
That is the Norwegian blood. It's in the genes, literally. So I like my winter sports, you know, downhill, cross country, snowshoeing, ice skating, horseback riding, open ocean swimming. I love open water swims. I've done some triathlons. I'm trying to think what other
triathlons.
Sports. Just some little ones,
Okay.
you know. They do the peer-to-peer swim. I've done that here. It's a 2-mile swim from Hermosa Beach to Manhattan Beach. I like to roller skate. I took Thor roller skating yesterday, so we enjoy that. A lot of physical things for fun. I love hiking. I love to travel. I love the ocean, love exploring, and I love to read. I read a lot. I have stacks of books on my bedside, so whatever mood I'm in for that evening, could even be 2 in one night. So that's what I like to do. And I love spending time with my family. I mean, I guess I think in my mind that's a given, but I spend a lot of time with my parents and my son and my sister.
It's good that you have that
family.
rock to hold on to.
It sure is. It sure is. They're a real inspiration. I mean, my dad, 94, writing, you know, still writing incredible screenplays, novels, plays. We just did a staged reading of one of his plays, beautiful swan song. Bruce Davison, another Academy Award nominee, read the title role. And so, they've been great.
Thanks, Kristanna. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank you,
Bruce
Steve.
Davison was in The Longtime Companion.
That's
Which
right.
is what I think he got an Oscar nomination
He did.
for.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. And one of the first to deal with AIDS.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerly. Theme music by Brian Sanishin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.